Welcome along, everyone. What was it like, that experience, jumping into your first race?
It's been my life ever since I can remember.
Look, it really was unbelievable.
I think it's awesome.
Just go out there and give it your all every time. And
when you're young and you get in your old man super stock and you wreck it, I mean, it's pretty cool.
Craig Booker with the big smile. He is the voice that's behind what you get to hear every Sunday night.
Give it the hoot, Daddy. Look at that field. Doesn't it look fantastic?
Hey everyone, welcome back to our Wednesday show. Yes, after a week off, this is in the cockpit with Kinser and my good friend, Bump and Run. Craig Booker joins me for the first segment of the start of the show. Look, it is a special show and it doesn't get any bigger than the name Gordge when it comes to Speedway here in New Zealand. We'll talk more about that one, but welcome Craig, good to see you my friend. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good, mate. I'm just looking at the side of the studio there and it looks like Murray might have, he pushed a button, he's gone. Hey, I'm doing good. Hey, listen, people, just a heads up. Oh, look, there's Murray's back. We'll bring him into the studio shortly if Murray can hear me. If you can hear me, Murray, at the moment, we'll bring you in for a test in a minute. We'll just get through some stuff. Okay, so just so people know, we're having a little bit of trouble just connecting Murray, but we have got someone heading to his house to help us. But it looks like he might have sorted it. But stay with us. We're getting there. So we'll go through a few things, Kins, tonight. So... What do we got? What do we got first? Let's.
All right, mate. Let's go back to Sunday. Look, just last Wednesday, obviously we didn't have a show. My friend here has got to look after himself, but it's good to see him back on the stream for tonight's show. He's looking real good. I got to say, nicely shaved.
Yeah.
Looking good. And you do what you got to do, you know. Hey, anyway, just go back to last Sunday with the Pop series of our Pop's Chainsaw series of our street stocks, and we had the New Zealand Grand Prix down in Woodford Glen, and coming home third was Chris Bailey, Mr. 56, and of course Evan Tyredor came home second, and the winner for that, the man himself, Steve Dirt NZ Emmett, who won the GP there. But also we had the feature race, which was the Canterbury Champs. Rolling home third was 1NZ of Jason Coley. Chris actually had a bloody good meeting. He come home second in the borrowed 8M car of Brad Wright, but obviously our first Jesse Pollock Houston winning the Canterbury Champs there as well. So that's the update on the E-Series Pop's Chainsaws. Big thank you to Pops for all of his support and ongoing support. Look, we've got a few more rounds to go. We've got a couple of the big titles, but it doesn't get any bigger in a few weeks with the New Zealand title. But I know you got something there from Pops you do want to share with us, Craig.
Yeah. So Pops is our main sponsor, and today at Pops they received their first electric scooter. So if you want to go all green and get yourself an electric scooter, Kins, from Pops Chainsaws, he's got those, the Forza ones. I'll show people what they look like, shall I? Shall we bring it in here? So this is the new electric scooter. Look at that, old school looking bloody bike. Looks awesome, doesn't it? Hey, so yeah, that's if you want to go see our main sponsor in turn, I'll get a hold of them online. Those are the new e-scooters. I took one for a ride today. Oh, they go like a cut cat, but they're hard case to ride, mate, because there's no frickin' noise. You know, so it's a bit of humour. Hey, people, keep tuning in with us. Stay with us. We're just trying to get Murray organised. We do have someone heading to his house to help us. So stay with us, but we'll go through a few more things, Kins. Another thing is also Palar Games put up this week.
Yes.
Their new release that's going to be out. Now, we're going to jump on board with Palar Games, aren't we, Kins? And we're going to probably Tuesday night do a live release of all that. So all you people that have been looking at that mobile game that he's releasing, you know, it looks pretty good, doesn't it, with all the different things at It's old Blendy at Palar Games. I think it's got modifieds and saloons and stock cars and rallycross and trucks and I mean it's fair.
It's everything.
Eh?
It's got everything.
Yeah, mate. So Oh, yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, we're gonna try and jump on board Tuesday night, people, for a big release of that live with Blendy once he confirms it all. But he's pretty keen to come on board with us, and we're going to help release his game all live for all you people. I'm sure some of you have played you would have played it, Kins, wouldn't you? The teams racing game.
Yeah. One of the handy ones I had when I was in planes flying up and down the countryside. You know, it's your go-to game. You download it from the Play Store, Apple Store, and put it into your phone. And before you know, while you're playing, trying to wind each other off around on the plane, everyone's looking at you, sitting next to you. Look at this guy playing stock cars and all this type of stuff. And before you know it, you arrived at your destination. So it is well worth it. World of Dirt Racing. It's ready to go. Like Craig has said, we'll catch up with the man himself, Brendan, have a chat with him, the creator of this. And I tell you what, I'm looking forward to catching up with Blendy, who's been part of us many years ago at the early stages of course, Kokpit racing. Not only that, but also a guy who's created so much for our New Zealand content when it comes to tracks particular, you know, but he knows his stuff, and we'll just revisit some of that quickly before we get into the release of the World of Dirt Racing. So that is all ready to go. Just a quick shout out to Dave Thomas, who's on board watching. Scott Honeybone, the two regular viewers, Paul Mason, who's there. He is looking better. Jason Coley saying, looking good there, Booker. I won't say the other word he said there, and I won't say that. Gavin Tanifa's watching. We'll have to catch up sometime soon, Gav, for a bit of a chat. Peyton Wilson. Yeah, your dad's on the way. He's rushing to save our main guest and get him online. Warren Fraser. Oh, look.
Hey, kids, I'll just call interrupt you. Murray, if you can hear me, it looks good. Don't push any buttons. Just leave it like that, and I'll bring you in a minute.
All right.
So he looks like he heard me then, Kins, so that's good. So we'll carry on. We'll bring him in shortly. Sorry to interrupt, because I can see him exiting and coming in and out, and I can see he's got good, full connection, and I can see his lovely face there looking at us, having a smile. So he obviously heard me, so if he doesn't touch any more buttons, that's cool. Just leave it like that, and I'll bring you in, and we'll see what happens, mate. We'll better hear you shortly. So anyway, kids, we'll carry on quickly what we're doing. The people are waiting to see the GOAT, the greatest of all time, eh?
Okay,
so,
Colin Dyer, quickly just shout this out to you, Colin Dyer, for this. Dave Thomas, I'm a bit quiet. I'll try and talk louder, mate.
I've just turned you up, bro.
Sure. Okay, I'll turn me up. All right,
I turned you up. Yeah.
Oh, okay, sweet as. Yeah. Congrats to Brittany and Nathan. Yes, the future for the Rees name with little Archie David Rees. So congrats to those two. Sean Kingy, kia ora, Sean. And good to have Warren watching the show as well. Just quickly, I want to do a bit of a push for 8+ on media, which is Seth. Seth Rowe, get behind his raffle, the wing canvas raffle. It's not taken off as we would love to, but please jump on board. All the details are on the 8+ on media. You'll find +1 media, sorry. You'll find all the information there, so do support him. I went and bought one of the t-shirts, 50 odd bucks.
So did I, mate. Yep.
Yeah, I know you got one, the 5XL for you. But we went and did all that stuff. Get on board with the raffles and heads going on there. Outstanding canvas. And also the wing that got damaged, obviously, from the team's event earlier this year. Oh, Mark Crocott. Yeah, hey there. We'll leave it at that.
I'm going to ring up Newbie and tell him that it looks like that Murray's got it sorted, doesn't need his help anymore. It's time halfway down the road. So I'm going to jump out, kids, and I'm going to bring in Murray, and let's see if it works, eh? What do we reckon?
See how we get on, eh?
Okay, mate, here we go.
Everyone's calling him the GOAT. Is he there? There he is. Hey, Murray.
Yeah, I'm here, mate. Yeah, I can't see you guys, but I can hear you.
You can hear us. Look, we can see you. So we do have one of our friends on his way to kind of give you a bit of a technical assistance. But Murray, mate, it's a pleasure, and thank you for joining us and taking time out on your Wednesday.
Tell him to try turning his phone, bro.
Part of our show. Thank you.
Thanks for having me on, mate.
That's all good. Hey, obviously the big question before most do ask, Murray, tell us a bit about how it all started. Way back.
If you can hear me, kids, get him to spin his phone, bro.
Young fellow ready to rip up the dirt and entertain and become a household name with Gordge. So how did it all start for you, Murray? What's the history behind all of that?
I'll be back in the early 80s. I was actually crewing for my brother Newt, and there was a big meeting in Auckland, and I remember coming home and saying to my wife, I wouldn't mind building one of those things. I reckon I could go all right in one. And she said to me, if you're going to have one of those, I want a new lounge suite and a new dining room suite. Because we only had old stuff in those days. And hence, I ended up by building a car. She got what she wanted, and I think her stuff cost more than my first car did.
So that's how it all started, eh? And Utah's. Yeah. If you want to try something just quickly for me, Murray, while I've got you here to make the viewers see you on a bigger screen, are you able just to turn your phone to the side, to the either right or the left, please? Just flip it around on the side, yeah. Just 90 degrees, please.
90 degrees.
Yeah, just turn it 90 degrees. Yeah, we'll see if it'll flick it around. Not doing it, eh? Don't you love technology? It looks like the reception's gone for a little bit there as well. It looks like it's kind of cut out. And yeah, we'll ask some of these questions. Looks like it's frozen, but look, we do have one of our friends who lives close to Murray that's on his way to help him out with getting a few things technically sorted out. But we'll get that all rectified. And like Murray said, look, it's Newton. How it all started back in the 80s, and no need to say the rest. Obviously, the man's a legend himself. Working with Peter Kariga. Yes, we'll ask him a bit about that, Dave Thomas, and we can get a few things going. So just bear with us. Look, that's technology. When it works and when it really goes, it really works well. So we'll see how we can get on there and see what we can do for you all. So we'll just progress with that and just be with us. Look, apologies. That's just the way life is, and we'll keep moving on. Hey, earlier on, I made mention at the start of the show, get behind 8+1 Media, Seth Rowe, and jump on board, buy tickets for the wing that got folded just about all upside down here, there, and everywhere, and also a grey canvas painting that's I think put together by Graham Hughes, if I remember rightly. It's a photo actually from Sportswear Photography that's been put together in a canvas, and he's going to be raffling all of that off, so do jump on board there as well. Wi-Fi isn't that good in Taranaki, Jacob? Close. Yeah, sounds like it, mate. I remember when we caught up with Brad Lane, and he was down there working with us. One of our first modified interviews is one of our early E-series of the Rev XS series, and Brad had a few issues. He was actually going to drive up to the top of a mountain to get some reception to join us, but we got there in the end, and people have actually asked me when we do another catch-up and another interview of Brad Lane, look, we can sort that one out and get that in place as well. So just be with us. We're just trying to work things out, waiting for our good friend Peter Wilson, who's on his way to help out Murray. He's trying to get himself all sorted as well. There he is. He's back.
Yeah, I've got you. I can hear you again, but I can't see anything.
No, that's fine, mate. That's all right. Leave it like that. We'll leave it like that for now, Murray, as long as we got you and the viewers are watching. They're all happy. So that's perfect, Murray. We'll leave it like that, and don't touch. Don't touch. Okay. All right, mate. Thank you. Hey, we started with your career back in the 80s. You talked about Newton and how it all started. And then, of course, it just grew from there. We do have people who will be asking questions throughout our interview, working with Peter Kariga. Hey, Dave Thomas mentions that one. He's got some good memories. Can you hear me, mate?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay, so it looks like we're going to have a little bit of a delay there, and maybe with the Wi-Fi working out there as well. So Ben Dunbar's just jumped on board to watch. Chris Bailey, yeah. So Chris is in here watching as well. Look, 80s, you've got some good memories of the 80s, obviously with Newton. You want to share any good times with Newton?
Yeah, we had a little travelling around in the early days. Oh, this is Mike's repeating itself, mate.
Oh, it's repeating through. It's coming back through to you from you talking to me. Okay.
Yeah.
Try it out. How does that work?
No, it's still the same, I think.
Still the same.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
It is. Okay, so it's that technology side. So, okay, so we'll just keep working on things here. Look, our mate Pete's on his way to your place, Murray. What about now? Try now, mate. Can you hear us? It's not repeating back to you?
Yeah, I think. Oh, no, it's still repeating itself this end. Oh, that's better now.
That's better.
Yeah.
So good memories with yourself and Newton?
Yeah, we had a lot of good fun in the early days. He had a PK car in those days, Peter Kariga, and we all got on good and travelled around, and yeah, and that's sort of what got me keen on the game, really.
So how far after that did you start to build one? Were we talking, mid to late 80s or early 80s?
No, it was early 80s. I think it was about 82. I think it was. At a guess, it's pretty close to that era anyway. And then I ended up by doing my own deal, and then PK gave me a few pointers. We got on pretty good, and he actually showed me how to build an open tube diff. It cost me, mind you, I had to weld a car up for him. But no, it was all good. And then the following year, I started racing. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've been in the engineering business for some time? Is it something you wanted to do as a young man, or is it something that's inherited from family? How's that all come about?
No, well, I did an engineering apprenticeship. I actually did an adult engineering apprenticeship, started when I was 18, and did that as a fitter welder, and then just sort of got keen in the later years of the racing side of it, really, because Albert, my cousin, he used to race stock cars. He won the New Zealand champs in '73, I think it was, and we used to follow him a bit, and sort of probably had the bug from way back then of racing, and then sort of took with helping Newton, it took on from there, really.
Of course, the 80s, everyone kind of remembers the day of the Peter Carriga car, the chassis, PK chassis, a very, very popular chassis, especially in the stock car world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Peter taught us all a fair bit.
Yeah. And obviously a well-known name that's associated with the Dirt Track magazine. That's in new hands at the moment as well. We've got a chance for you to win a copy of the Dirt Track magazine, and also we've got a cup as well that's got the logo put on it. I'll tell you more about that. But obviously the man himself, some of you like Craig Cardwell already put in there, this is the GOAT that we're talking to, the greatest of all time. And when it comes to the name Gordge, and dare I say, when it comes to winning chassis, this guy has won one NZ 6 times, back in the 90s through to the early 2000s.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun when you look back. I mean, when I first started racing, I had one ambition, and that was to win New Zealand champs once. And then I think I won it the first time in '93.
Yes.
And I remember John Ray saying to me, a local guy, he used to race modifieds with us in the early days before we went sprint car racing, and he said to me, try it again. He said to prove it wasn't a fluke, because I sort of said I was happy now. I'd won it once. That was all I wanted to do, you know what I mean? And so I did. I tried it again, and won again in '94. It was my home track, so I won at Wellington the first year and Stratford the next. And then I thought, I've done it twice now, so I'll retire. So that's what I did. And then had 3 years off, and I built a car for my brother, actually, and he broke the engine on it. Had a bit of trouble the first time out, and broke the engine, and he just left it in the corner of my workshop. And then there's actually a good mate of mine, Tony Cardwell, in today rang me up, and he says, why don't you get that car your brother out? And he said, no. He says, I'll give you a hand. He said, get it out. And he said, go back racing. So I rang up my engine man in those days was Larry Taylor, and I said, I want an engine in 3 weeks. And he laughed at me and just said, not possible. And then I said, I explained to him what happened, and he said, I'll ring you back in 10. And he rang me, and he reckoned they could do it. So they ended up by getting me an engine, I think it was within 10 days, because I had to do the 3 compulsory meetings again, because even though I'd had 3 years off, they just said I still had to do 3 compulsory meetings to do the New Zealand champs. So I ended up with, I think I did a meeting in Wellington on the Saturday night, and then the following week it was one at Huntly on the Friday night, and one from the following week, went back to Auckland, won New Zealand champs again. That was in '98. Yeah, so got TC to thank me for 4 championships, really, because he talked me into coming back.
Yeah.
And then we won another 4. Yeah.
That's hard to comprehend, 93, that was your goal, to win a championship. You did it. And then someone said to you, is this a fluke? Then you went out the following year and you did it. Then you decided to have a 3-year break. You come back, and he just showed everyone who's been racing in the 3 years, Murray Gordge is a deserving champ again in 1998. When you think the guys who've been racing for X amount of years, you were kicking back, doing your own thing, you come back out and just show them how to bloody win a championship, eh?
Oh, it wasn't that easy, Robert. That particular car that I did for my brother, we did find a few problems with it when I actually drove it. It was quite hard to drive, so I just made a few spring rate changes, and then it was a different car. And was actually counter rates up. I just calculated it incorrectly. No, it was a different car, really.
Yeah. No, you built so many different modifiers, and I do want to touch on that. Look, let's move on from the 8 because only a few years later we moved into the 2000s. You went back to back in 01, 02, then a couple of years later in 04. That's the 6 titles, eh? And the new, in the new.
Yeah.
What was that like? Don't tell me, please don't tell me you had a break in 99 and 2000 and come back in 01. That didn't happen again, did it?
No. One of the things which I've never ever forgotten was a meeting at Woodford Glen, and I think that would have been in '99, I think it was, and I was the highest qualifier, and that was one of those championships where they had everything on one race. So I had pole position for a 25 lap race, and then I was led the whole race. And I could even see the checkered flag coming off the last turn, and I don't know what happened, but I turned that car around, pointing for the finish line, and ended up last in the thing. I should have won it, so that was one that I threw away.
Yeah.
And then the other two, I'm not quite sure what happened now. I just can't remember. That might have been in 2000 and 03. I'm not quite sure what happened.
Yeah, 02, 04, yeah. No, that's good, When you think too, let's go back to that 90s era. You look, that's the decade that I grew up watching Speedway, and I used to love watching modifieds. You had so many classic battles going on, and it doesn't get any bigger than the old Gordge versus Bertram type of stuff, There was all of those. Who were some of your real main competitors that you thought, I know everyone would be a competitor against you because they all wanted to beat Murray Gordge, but who were some of those real close rivals you had in the 90s?
Yeah, well, of course, when we were racing, we probably hated each other. At the end of the day, you'd turn up, and I could just imagine Bertie saying, "Oh, boys are here," and it's the same with me. But it was the way it had to be. We were rivals, and that was it. But there's a lot of good guys that were real competitive too. Like Philip Game,
Yes.
Tony Galbraith. He's another one at the time. Ricky Martin. Foxy was coming on the scene then, starting to go good. And there's a lot of guys. They weren't easy to beat, but you'd have to say that Bertram was probably the hardest one at the end of the day.
Yeah, if you went 1NZ, 9 times out of 10, Bertram would be a 1NZ, and would be a bright spark that would get through. I remember the 90s, and Willie Noonan, actually from your home track, Stratty, come out in the day with a different whole concept, and he won a 1NZ title as well. Those are good times. When you go back to your early 80s, you talked about Newton right at the start here. Can you remember some of the names from back in the 80s from your racing back then?
Oh,
way back,
locally here you had the likes of Merv Julian. He was a 1NZ at the time, and Neil Cowley, he was another 1NZ. It was basically Neil and my brother and Merv. They were probably the biggest competitors at Stratford at the time, really, in the 80s. And I remember the first year that I was racing, all those guys went away. I think it was to Cromwell to the New Zealand champs, and I was pretty happy that night because with those big guns being away, I remember I think I won 4 out of 4. We had 4 races in those days, and I won the 4 races, so I was pretty happy with those guys being away, because they were the ones that you had to beat.
Yeah.
And I remember when they came back home, I could actually give them a hard time because I'd done a few laps then. So it was, as the season went on, I sort of got a lot better, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. You got into through your brother.
They were the hard ones in the local thing.
Yeah, 100%. And it always seems to work when the big guns are out of town, and you can just put on a big show with the fans and everyone that's there. I would guess too, Newton, is Newton still racing, Murray?
Yeah, he's an old fella now. He's still racing. He'd be 66, and he's still racing. We did an experimental car from last year, really. They put a lot of left side into it, and it didn't really go any better than the other cars. So I was a bit disappointed. We tried a lot of stuff, but I think we just decided we'd go back to basics, and we've had our play, and it wasn't as successful as I thought it would have been. But he wanted to try it, but it's just one of those things. It's still not better than the normal type car.
Yeah. Let's talk about that type of Gordge chassis. There's different styles of Gordge chassis, especially this one in particular. We're talking modifieds here. How much development did it change from the 80s through to, say, the early 90s when you won your first championship? Was there a lot of development? Was there a lot of thought put into the actual chassis by yourself?
Yeah, the running gear today is heaps better. I mean, the first car for myself, I had a a homemade open tube diff, which was made out of Morris commercial truck diff.
Mhm.
And we used to use just ordinary ordinary steering boxes, not power steering like today. And I think that first car of mine had a Morris commercial steering box out of a truck. It had the diff out of a truck, and I think it was a Fergie 24 clutch plate in those days. It was a light and sheep flywheel, and that was about it. Whereas today you've got all this sprint car style stuff. It weighs nothing compared to what we used to have, and it's just far nicer gear, and it's better to work with too.
Yeah, how technology's evolved and changed. We're going to talk about that. And Jacob, yes, I am going to ask him a bit about how the super stock chassis or the A grade one back in the day actually came into this, because we know Murray through his modified racing and so forth. Yes, Amron, Muzza, the legend, the great one here, Bertram, Entwistle, Galbraith, Martin, Phil Gay. There's a list we could talk about here. We're going to talk more about Super Dirt Cup and all of this stuff, because that's a big meeting, 2-night at UC back at Auckland there. But, you've done a lot with the traveling. Have you actually raced most of the tracks in your modified up and down the country?
Yeah, in the early days I did a lot of travelling. Yeah. Most of them. I wouldn't say all of them, but probably 75-80% anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aside from being registered at Stratford, what's your favourite track? Before someone's asks me the typical question to ask you, what's your favourite track?
Well, they've all been good and all been bad to me. I couldn't say there was a favourite really.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, Stratford would probably be the track that stays the most consistent all night, I'd say. So it's probably the easiest track to set your car up for. Whereas you go to like Waikareca and that, from the beginning of the night to the end of the night, it's just so different. So probably Stratford was a good place to learn, really, just the basics.
You mentioned the word consistent in that side of things. You're like Mr. Consistent when it comes to the major titles. We've talked about your 6 1NZ titles from 93, 94, 98, 01, 02 and 04. What about other titles, North Islands, GP, all that type of stuff? Did you accumulate any of those?
Yeah, I won a lot of those, but I wouldn't know how many. I never really kept a track of it. I'm not really a big photo person, and I sort of haven't got all that sort of stuff, unfortunately. I wish I had it now, but I couldn't even tell you how many times I won the Grand Prix and how many times in North Island. You'd have to look at the trophies to see how many times my name's on it. I wouldn't know.
Yeah. Some of the Speedway people I've interviewed over the time going past seem to have a bit of a Speedway memorabilia wall, and some of them are lucky enough to have trophies, a lot of photos. Where you live, have you got anything like that, like a bit of a Murray Gordge museum floating around or at the workshop?
No, not really, mate. I got 6 number plates on the wall. All the years I won. Tony, the 1NZ 93, 1NZ 94, etc. That just goes right. They're on the wall in the workshop, and I'm a garage here, and I've just got my trophies out of the garage, just gathering dust, and the ribbons are in a box somewhere. I don't know. They meant so much at the time, but now it's sort of history, if you know what I mean, and it doesn't sort of mean as much now.
Yeah, I remember you mentioned the great Roger Bertrand, who used to race, used to battle it out. I remember watching the Hartley at a New Zealand Champs there. If it wasn't you getting the win or Bertrand getting the win, it always come down to you too. And I think it was Roger that had his titles and little stars along the side of his body. Yeah, if that's right from memory.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because he won the New Zealand Champs in the modified 6 times as well, and it would have been nice to get another one on top of him, but I just sort of come the end of, I think it was 2005, I sort of had enough. I'd had a bad year, a lot of crashes, and wasn't really starting to enjoy it like I used to, so I thought it was time to give it away, and that's how come that never ever happened,
They create a Legends Night for
Would be nice to
modified
be another
class.
one, but
Yeah, I'm just going to ask you about that. If they decide to create a Legends Night, to bring the legends or modifiers all out and come and race a car, would you be keen? Would you jump behind the wheel, Murray?
I'm probably too old now, mate. My reactions will be too slow.
Nah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine, mate. Once you've got it, look what you've done. You're like riding the bike, mate. It took 3 years away and you come back into it. No, I think you'll be fine, I think the guys that would jump in there would be Justin Law to race along next to yourself. You imagine yourself and RB on the front. You can have the top of the pole there and off you go. Those guys will just bloody buzz out. Hey, there's a couple of questions here, if you don't mind me not being rude to you. Brett Grigg, why went for the Rover Super Saloon? Let's talk about the Rover Super Saloon. Why a Rover Super Saloon?
Oh, yeah. I decided to build a super saloon one year because I just wanted to get into building more super saloons at the time. Well, I just called saloons at the time. Now they're super saloons, but I just wanted to sort of push my business more in that direction. And I remember building one for Skinny Colson, and I did the Rover at the same time at the end of the day. And I thought I'll just do that for a year and see how I like it. But it was okay, but I just found them, I thought they were just too slow in the turns. So I had it for a year and then went back to the modifieds. And so I had a chance, Brian Hartley wanted to buy the Rover. So I let it go and then went back to the modifieds after that. But the main reason for doing it was just to increase that side of my business and building super saloons. And it did work. I definitely got more supers after that, yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking with that comment too slow in the corners, I bet you one of your good mates from Stratford Club, Londy Chamberlain, will be sitting there going, what did he just say then?
Well, they were a second and a half in those days. They were a second and a half different in the lap time. So, I mean, that was 3/4 of a second as you get into the track. And it was just done in the turns. And I just found, I treated the saloon car was just so slow on entry and it was just not the same, just going through the turn like the modified, you know?
Yeah, totally.
I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, I could understand it too, because we had Skinny Colson on way back, we caught up with him. He just lives up the road from me. He's not far from where I am, and he was talking about the early years and the fun times, a legend in his own right when it comes to super saloons. Dave Thomas, do you know how chassis you have built? How many chassis you've built over the years? Do you know how many chassis?
No, I had a mate going back in the early days at Murray Steams, and he said to me, take a photo and number every one you did. And I said, don't be stupid, I'm not doing that. And I wish I had it now because I honestly couldn't tell you the exact number, but all I could say it'd be well over 100. But I can't tell you exactly because I was never ever recorded them. I wish I had it now.
Yeah, it's always that wish I would have, could have stuffed up. Jacob Close has just clarified something here to help you out, Murray. Murray on the podium for Grand Prix 5 times. In North Island, 6 times. Yeah. So there you go. That's what he's come through. So yeah, and someone would know. And that's the luxury of this kind of show when we talk to legends and many people. It's good that we have people feedback. We will get through your questions as the show progresses. But the good thing about this, obviously, is just sharing with the man himself. And I know you're hanging out, and it's just clicked over 8 o'clock, and everyone's asking all about the stock car, the A grade, the super stock chassis. How did that evolve from your illustrious career in modifieds? You had a go with a Rover Super Saloon. When did the super stock or the A grade chassis jump on the scene? How did that all come about?
Well, actually, it was Keith Simpson was the first one. He came to me and just got interested in building him a stock car, and that was when I just first started working for myself. So Keith's was the first stock car that came off the line, if you like, in those days, and that was the Ford-powered Gurney Eagle. And that went pretty good. He never won the New Zealand champs. I think he was right up there, but never ever won them. But no, that was how I got into it. Was through Keith. Was the first one that I did.
Right, and the rest is all history when you take a look, at the Gordge chassis when it comes to the superstock class as we know it is now. The success of your chassis has just been unbelievable. Did you ever think that would happen? Was there ever your ambition for the Gordge chassis to be so successful? Nope, looks like we have a little bit of freezing here and there. So he's back. Okay.
Yeah, I was pretty lucky that all the customers were all pretty good drivers that come to me. You know what I mean? So it probably made my job easier building the cars and working with them to getting them to go good. If you understand what I'm getting at.
Exactly. If you've got a great combination, I would guess a driver who's got the skills and got the package to go, you supply the chassis. It's a pretty well-known winning combination. And when you think of, if I use as the Gordge chassis as example, one guy who's won it 3 times, Craig Boot.
Yeah, Booty was a good customer. Yeah, he got the job done pretty good. It's the old story. In that game, you can make a few enemies and you're never going to win New Zealand champs, are you? That's what happens in that, unfortunately. You've only got to have a tangle with a guy at the previous meeting, and if he doesn't like you, you're not going to win the New Zealand champs, are you?
No, exactly, mate. It's going to be interesting times. Look, and we both grew up in the era where it was track code, and we know that for a fact. You supported your track cars, got them home, or you tried to get them home, but it's all changed. And something like in the 80s, we talked about yourself and Newton and the modified, but we've been introduced to the world of mini stocks. And how good is that class? In your mind, have you ever built a Gorge mini stock?
No, mate, no. I've been asked a few times in the early days, and I refused to do it because I believe that's a feeder class, and it should be a class where Dad's working with the son, building the cars themselves. I believe, and
Awesome.
I don't believe professionals should have really got involved in that side of it. It's a thing for the kids, and I think Dad should be working with the son, building the car, and that's how it should have stayed. But hey, that's only my opinion. But and I just wasn't interested in building them. I had been asked, but I just see the cost of just doing the small things. I believe it's just wasn't right. Unless you could do a run of them, I just don't think it was really me, if you know what I mean. And like I say, it should be a father-son thing, I believe.
No, you're 100% right, actually, and I support with your comment, your reply on that as well. And you are right, because you can go into these chassis buildings trying to get the advantage, but it is a feeder class. This is where the kids drive and they get the experience as young as 12, to get the feel for speedway, and then who knows what rolls on from there onwards. You're 100% right, actually, and I like that comment, how you replied to that. Look, a couple of people have got a couple of questions here. Dave Thomas, Blondie was South African sprint car champ back in the day. Sure was, mate. Paul Mason, I think some drivers would lend Murray and Bertram a car these days just to have a Legends night. Yeah, I bet you. And actually, I know one guy that's mostly part of our Kokpit online community is Brad Lane. He'd love to get you out there in the car. And I'm guessing Aaron Lewis from Dirt Track will be another one as well. So, mate, you wouldn't be short of the opportunity to jump behind the wheel again, I tell you.
Yeah. that Brad Lane, he's got no fear, that boy.
Mate, he's good online in our simulation world. He's pretty good, and we are going to catch up with Brad sometime soon, and have another catch up with him just to see how things are progressing. He is one, actually, who was out there given the opportunity. We're just talking about the feeder class of mini stocks. He's offered up his modified, for boys or girls to grow the class and jump in there. And when you think the likes of Garage 16 and what they've brought to the modifieds to grow it, There you go. Aaron Lewis, I told you he was listening. Aaron Lewis, come and try mine anytime. Murray, you're welcome to. There you go. Done deal.
I wouldn't be as fast as him.
Oh, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Not really any favourite tracks, I suppose, Brent. We actually asked him earlier on, and maybe the home track of Stratford, but he's raced that many tracks. They all have their pluses and their minuses, but, when you take a look at the man and what he does out there on the track, he's just all go. Your tractor. Okay, tell us about your tractor, Murray, from Quinny. Quinny, what's the deal with the tractor?
Was that the twin engine one he's talking about, I assume?
Must be, yeah.
Yeah, I always wanted to do it, join two big Fergies together and make a twin engine four-wheel drive and turbo them both engines, which I did. And ended up by going to a guy in Invercargill who heard that I got it, and he just wanted to own it. He's got a collection of Fergies down there, so I went all the way down there. I think it's just on show nowadays.
A show one. Jacko's still going, Yeah, Jacko. Talking of Jacko, 70 on Nest, another legend of this era, and Chris Bailey just asking, do you still do stuff with Jacko?
Yeah, well, Jacko, he worked with me for years. He built the race car trailers on contract for me, and actually he worked from my workshop, and it's just in the last 6 months, really, I've talked him into going out on his own, and he's now working for himself and doing it from his place now. I just said to him, so getting to a stage where, the old age thing comes into it, and I sort of wanted to sort of give up work and just do more play work now, so that's what I've been doing, and so he's sort of just taking over the trailer side of it, and like I say, doing the whole lot from home, so he's pretty happy and doing pretty good.
You've influenced so many to have a go at the modified class, and one that comes to memory is a huge fan of Murray Gordge. Had a green car, a 9W, and he went to 1NZ, the late Tama Arapere. He spoke highly of you, Murray, and he loved driving your cars, mate. What a great loss to the Speedway community, but a guy that admired you, Murray.
yeah, I'll say it's a real great loss, really. I was pretty upset when I heard about that deal. No, he's a real neat guy, and he was a good customer over the years. And when I retired from racing, I had actually 2 cars, and he was one of the first on to me. He wanted one of them, and he did be proud.
Mm. All right, we've got a few little internet issues off and on, but look, we'll just deal with it. Yeah. Have you got anyone else playing with the internet at home while we're talking to you, Murray? No one's on the Wi-Fi playing on their Facebook or anything like that?
Oh, my wife's probably playing on Facebook, I guess. Do you want me to turn it off, mate?
She's most probably watching the show, most probably sitting there trying to watch it. That could be part of why we having these little connection delays. Could be. We're just trying to throw in a guess here and see how we go. Would Murray build a TQ Midget chassis? You know, that would be awesome, from Carl Carpendale.
Yeah, I've done a couple, actually. I did one for Dallas Green in the early days, and also Glenn Smith that won the New Zealand Champs. That was one of my chassis. That was down in, I think that was in the Cargill, Dunedin it might have been, I think it was. He won the New Zealand Champs. I was there that night, actually, with Tony Cargill, actually, because it was a big super saloon deal too.
Yeah, okay. Now we still have the odd little issue, but we'll carry on, Murray. Look, you've spoken about, and we all familiarise you with modifieds. Did you ever think of jumping in the sprint car, or have you actually done that and have a go to sprint car? You know, I know RB done that a little while, and I know Phil Game done sprint cars back in the day. Did you ever delve into a sprint car and have a go?
Yeah. Mate, when Keith's night, he was driving my night, I driving his, and there was only about 5 sprint cars that strapped in those days, I think, and I actually pulled a massive wheel stand and won the race for him that particular night. And I remember starting at the back. That's when the Aussies were here that night in his car, and he started.
Yeah. Okay, Murray.
My car, my modified, converted to a sprint car.
Yeah.
Kerry won the race.
Yeah. Hey, Murray, I would love to get a great answer from you. And I know you were talking to me, but we're just having a few internet issues. And look, I don't mean to be rude, but I know we've got a whole lot of people watching this and wanting to listen to you. Obviously, Murray Gordge himself on our show. And you can't call out to your wife just to jump off the internet for another 15 minutes or so? You don't mind doing that?
Yeah, okay, mate. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
Thank you. Just to clear it up, we can only but ask. Look, and this is for the viewers who are asking all the questions, and we need to give a legend of Speedway the time so we can have the nice picture for him and get it all out to you. So we just see what he does when he goes and talks to his wife. She's most surely sitting there on their phone watching the Facebook feed as we go. Good to be back on a Wednesday. Let's see if we got him. All right, so you're back. Was there no problems?
Yeah, she was looking at you, mate, but she said it was about 5 minutes ago. She's turned it off, though, so it should be good now.
All right, I did wonder that. I was not surprised. Hey, look, we'll just bounce through some of these questions here from Amron Peter Broadhurst. Muzza, your recent modified chassis looks a little longer than normal. Any reason for that?
Yeah, something I always wanted to try. I wanted the long, low look, and I'd seen some in an American magazine, the Tar Seal sprint cars, and I said to Jacko, "What do you reckon of one of these?" And he liked the look of it, so we ended up by, I think I did a run of 3 like it, and then we did another 3 like it afterwards. And it's just something I always wanted to try. I believe the cars will be easier to drive through the turns, not so quick in the reaction department.
Mm-hmm.
But I never have. Well, I've had a drive of it myself, but I mean, I've never raced it competitively. But no, the guys are pretty happy with them. They're not quite up to it in the slick yet, but I believe we'll be right from now on. We've sort of learned a bit since we've been playing with them.
Yeah, exactly.
But they should be easier to drive in theory.
I would guess too, going forward, the way technology's had a major play in any speedway class, things seem to get easier the way the development of the superstock chassis has evolved over the recent decade or so, and you'll be one of those. And we're talking about the superstock chassis again. You had a lot of people who wanted to do copy versions of your cars, the imitation Gorge, maybe with a few of their own personal touches and tweaks. Did that upset you in any way, or were you happy with that? And, what you got any thoughts on that?
No, you can't do much about it, mate. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it is what it is. And I remember Linda Kruger saying to me, she says, a copy is a form of flattery. So, they were in the same position too. I mean, it's basically, we all got a lot of ideas off PK's first base frame type chassis. And it sort of really evolved from there, really, at the end of the day.
Mm. Had a lot of success in the superstock chassis in particular. Look, and I just reiterate and give credit to the late Gavin Evatt, Paul Moore, who put up a whole lot of photos of the Gorge chassis, over the many, many years. And there's just a whole lot of list of drivers, a very, very, very successful chassis you built.
Yeah, they've all been pretty good. But like I said before, I've probably been lucky enough to have all customers that had the ability to drive them too, and they had half a brain and they knew you could explain to them different things and they understood what you're talking about to change settings and things like that. So I've been pretty lucky in the sense that they've all been sort of good peddlers, if you like. And at the end of the day, not everybody's going to win with them, but at the end of the day, I've had a pretty good success rate with them, really. And when we changed to high tensile too, that was a pretty big thing. Just made the maintenance on the cars just so much less. I remember Peter Bengston just saying to me, like, when he got a high tensile one off me, the work was, he had time to go to work instead of working on his car trying to fix it all the time.
Yeah, 100% right. Hey, we did mention too about Tamara Pere, and Sheldon's actually popped in here, his son, and Dad always spoke highly of you, mate. This is Sheldon talking to you, Murray. Always enjoyed his time with you and Jacko, and expresses your legend, Muzzer. You are.
Yeah. No, we had a lot of fun together. I remember going out for tea one night, and Tom was up one weekend, and we went out and we got on the booze and played up a bit, but we had a lot of fun. Yeah, it was work hard and play hard.
Yeah, totally, 100%. You do the hard work, you get out there and enjoy. And look, so many people and so many names that are legends of a lot of classes throughout the speedway here in New Zealand have either been associated or driven a Gorge chassis in some form or another. But mate, I know you've been in the pits and you've been there helping out over the recent years. You just love it, eh? You just love it, and you enjoy it. It's in the blood.
Yeah, it is. It's just something you probably can't get rid of. I don't go as much as I used to, but I tend to still go to the big meetings. But I don't go to every Saturday night. But most times, if I can, I will. Yeah.
Hey, Pete Wilson, who has actually been able to help you, and thanks, Pete, for the effort yesterday when we did the test team in Murray. Pete, and the drive today was heading out to come and give you a hand, mate. Ever keen to pedal in a superstock? You ever keen to jump in there, or have you already done that?
Oh, I've done that. I drove Keith's a couple of times. Keith Simpson's one at Stratford here when I did that super offset one for him. And I remember Craig Pearce was racing with us too. And I remember this particular race, I started off at the front. And I was actually scared, man. I was just all these big fellas around me. And I remember saying, "So you're nothing but a flag racer because you just took off in one race, But that's something you don't forget.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get into the odd breakup. Look, we are nearing the end of our little show here in about 10 or so minutes, but we'll just keep rolling it on through. And Muzzer, make sure Jacko's at the track. And yeah, he is, he's the real deal when he comes to the track. Anyone, and I know you don't go to a lot of tracks these days, Murray, but anyone you think that are up and comers to keep an eye on these days, that's moving through maybe particularly the modifier class? Yeah, it looks like we are having a few Wi-Fi issues here as well, even though Murray, when he spoke to his wife, here he comes, he might get through here. Yeah, you back, Murray?
Yeah, I got you here now, mate. It's not a real good area up here, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah. That's okay, mate. Look, we'll just go through and see how we can be with this for now, Murray, before we let you go and enjoy that. Any pre-race rituals? Was there anything pre-race that you done? Like most guys have a lucky underwear or something like that. Is there anything pre-race that you done before you raced? Rituals?
No, not really, mate. I remember one night I had a real bad night. I was racing here locally, and I think I was climbing into the boot. Make up your mind. Ever since then, it's the old story. No booze the night before racing, and you go heaps better.
Awesome, mate. Hey, Murray, I know you just said to me, you reflected to me that maybe if you had little internet issues where you are, we could continue on the show and carry on through and keep talking, mate. But, I think we'll wrap it up there. Let your wife get back on the Wi-Fi and do what she's going to do. But I do appreciate your time, Murray, for joining us and being part of our show.
No worries. Thanks for having me, mate.
No problems. Anytime. Look, and we will carry on. We'll do another part of the show. We'll do another catch up, Murray Gordge. But thank you. Take care, mate, and we'll catch up trackside, eh?
Yeah, okay, mate. Thank you.
No, thank you. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Look, we've just come to the end of our show in the cockpit with Kinser on a Wednesday night. We are back. Last Wednesday we had it off. But just, with technology, you just have to bear with us. There's a few things that go on, especially when it comes to the use of internet and Wi-Fi. And in regards to Murray, like you said at the end there, it's just one of those things where it's not the greatest spot. And I do know that Taranaki has a few of those issues, as some people have alluded to. Hey, I do want to thank everyone for all the questions, and we do want to do another update with Murray. There's a lot more we can talk, so just keep an eye on the Facebook page, and we'll give you all those updates. My mate Craig Book is back with us. A lot more we could talk to Murray about, eh? Oh, Muzza. Mm. I tell you, well, yeah, yeah. Can't hear you, Booker. Okay, you did. All right. So what we're just alluding to.
There we go. I've done it now.
And Sheldon. Yeah, so we're all good. Yeah, it could be weather. Look, I know there's a big weather pattern going up and down the country with a lot of heavy rain forecasted, and they're feeling it down the west coast, dare I say it, once again, eh? But in regards to getting some more workability with an interview with Murray Gordge, we will plan to do that. If you didn't hear Craig talk, you may do something.
It's working now, Kins, my mic.
Yeah. But I'm quite actually tempted to jump in the car and drive down to New Plymouth, actually, and bring a camera down and sit there with them in the workshop, and we can do a recorded interview or go live from there in his workplace and get something sorted, because he deserves everything. Because when you think the Gorge name, whether you love super stocks, A grades, part of the early years with a super saloon being a Rover, now Hartley had that, then of course obviously modifieds, it deserves a good special mention.
Oh, look, mate, he's like you think of the titles he's won and then the cars he's built. He's built the TQs as well. And I love that attitude about, he didn't want to build a mini stock because he thinks it should be the father and son or mother and son, whatever, the family building it and doing it together, and make it a learning class instead of making it into this class that you're paying $20,000 for a bloody mini stock. Yes. I love that attitude, mate. Mini stock's supposed to be a stepping stone. I remember watching an interview with Peter Rees, and he said the same thing. His boys never went fast in a mini stock because they were just there to learn.
Yes, exactly.
They didn't have the flash gear.
Exactly.
So
Pete
yeah,
Wilson, Pete, put me up a spare bed, mate. I'm coming your way. I'm going to come down there.
I'll go do too, kids. I got to buy him a steak for those trips he just made.
Yeah, we'll go for a steak dinner. Yeah, that's on, Pete. Yeah, we'll catch up. Sure, definitely. And, Pete, thank you, mate, for going to help yesterday, and of course, whizzing out there today. But as good as it can be. We're going to give the guy justice, and we'll catch up with Murray Gordge again. And looking forward to that. But yeah, I'm actually keen to get down there sometime and jump on the camera and have a chat with him. Maybe if we can go around and look at some of the memorabilia stuff, we can pull all the dust off it, all those ribbons he's had over the years, some of those trophies, do something exclusive, be a bit of fun. But, don't forget, 8+1 Media, Seth, give him some support there to win his wing that got damaged at the teens, but also what's more spectacular, Graham Hughes, Sports Web Photography. It's all done, a big photo, and you can make sure you can
it's his big rollover at teams.
Yeah, ASB campus. I've actually seen one of those. Chris Bailey's got one actually, and it's outstanding. Actually bummed me out. I want to buy one of those.
And also, kids, we can't forget that the stream will be back up and running this Sunday. I apologise to those. I was not well, so I didn't get it done, but I appreciate the well wishes that everybody sent me. But we will be up and running with our South Island champs at Riverside for our Pops E-Series, Kins. South Island champs, you should be able to go for the number 1 spot there this week, wouldn't you, mate?
Oh, give it a shot. Give it a shot. See if the old, that everyone looks at the back, what I've got on the back of my car, and just want to bump it in. This is what it says. I know it's a family show, and I won't say what it says on the back of my street stock, but everyone just wants to give it a bump to see if they shake. No, they don't anyway.
And also watch this space for maybe we might be live Tuesday night. With the helping release the big new mobile game from Palar Games. So tune in. We might be there once we get confirmation. And next Wednesday night, Kins, we got some pretty good guests as well, haven't we? We got the O'Brien family coming on to talk to us. So yeah, that'll be another good talk as well.
Yeah, 100%. Looking forward to that. And, like Speedway, we all know it is a family sport. Miami Speedway, their actual calendar was released yesterday. No doubt everyone's seen all of that. A couple of good meetings to go and check out. They've got the NZTQs down there, but there's heaps of meetings there. I think just about nearly every track actually has released their calendar for the 22-23 season. So we'll see how it goes. Yes, another Legend Nights interview could be coming up. Yeah, could be someone there. I'm working on someone.
We like to talk to them, don't we, Kins?
Yes, I think so. And that's something different that we bring is Legends Night. So, and we cover all motorsports. Look, we do know a big event's coming up real soon, which is the World Rally, and I know you're heading coming up my way to go and be part of. Is it Jacobs?
Jack's Creek, the big
Jack's
one.
Creek,
Me and myself and Reno have been invited to the final round of the World Rally at Jack's Creek up there in Auckland. But I don't think we can both make it yet, so we'll have to wait and see. But we are going to have some more rally guys coming on with the World Rally coming up. And we might have some drifters on too, Kins. I've been talking to my to some people over the weekend, and we might be able to have some drifters on soon as well for those people that like drifting as well. So,
okay. See, not just Speedway, we cover most motorsports, and we want to catch it. We'll get a few more on there as well, and catch it with our good friend or my friend Emma. We'll have a chat with her. And see what she's up there. She's travelled the world, and I see young Liam Lawson, I think it is back in the country. The young kid that's a superstar and got a massive future. Smooth looking dude too. Plays a damn good guitar, by the way.
Yeah, we probably want to catch up with Malcolm Reed too, and we're going to try and do a catch up with. We're going to try and get hold of the Levine boys because I see young Ethan now's got a spot over there at the Worlds. So I want to catch up with them and Randy before they take off over there too. So, yes, we do the E-Series, guys. Jacob, we do that before the racing as a rule of the stream on a Sunday night for the E-Series. So, yeah, we definitely will do that as well. But we've got a lot in the pipeline, and hopefully we will carry on doing what we're doing, and you guys are enjoying it out there, and girls that are supporting us, Akins.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Look, and that brings us to a wrap here on the Wednesday. Unfortunately, with our technology issues and the way the internet wheels work, we do apologise. We couldn't quite get through to the end with Murray Gordge, but look, we'll endeavour to do something about that and just trying to work out, make it worth my trip down that line. It could be a possibility. Maybe talking to Barry Pajewski as an example, catch up with a few of the Royd and Collingwood.
Well, maybe we could go down and we maybe do a live night there, a Legends live night down there, maybe, Kins, eh? If the fans want that, let us know. We might go to Stratford and do a live Legends night. Let us know. We don't mind travelling down there to do that, do we, Kins, if we can get them all together?
No, exactly. We'll work on something. But everyone out there, thanks for your questions. Good luck. We'll select a lucky winner to win the Dirt Track magazine, the latest issue, plus the cup. So thanks for your questions. Thanks for hanging in there with us and bearing with us at the start of the show. And who knows, we could be back on Tuesday with another interview with Brendan and Palo Games. But also don't forget to live build up at 8:15. We are at Riverside E-Series, thanks to Pops Chainsaws. And the Street Stock Series gets up and going down at Riverside. Take care, everyone. Be safe out there on your Wednesday. And we'll catch you back next week.
Cheers. See ya.
Welcome along, everyone. What was it like, that experience, jumping into your first race?
It's been my life ever since I can remember.
Look, it really was unbelievable.
I think it's awesome.
Just go out there and give it your retirement.
When you're young and you get in your old man super stock and you wreck it, I mean, it's pretty cool.
Craig Booker with the big smile. He is the voice that's behind what you get to hear every Sunday night.
Give it the hoot, Nanny. Look at that field. Doesn't it look fantastic?